Okay, hello my little hamburgers and hot dogs. Today we are going to be talking about order of operations, and since this is a math lesson, then that means that you should indeed have your math notebook ready and be ready to take notes. So turn to your next available page, nice clean page to start with, and the first thing I'm going to have you do is go ahead and write our header, order of operations. And then once you've done that, if you have colored pencils, you can duplicate what I have done here. I've made a green box, a blue box, 2 orange boxes, and 2 pink boxes. If you don't have colored pencils, you can do it with a regular pencil. It will be fine. Maybe you have some colored pens you might be able to use. Although I don't want you to take your notes in pen when we do graphics or something like that. You are allowed to do that, okay? So go ahead and copy that down. And while you do that, just pause the video so that you have enough time to get that done, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and start talking to you about order of operations. So order of operations is basically a set of rules. It's a set of rules that allows everyone that does math to come up with the same answers because you did the math the same way. All right. And this is one of those things that when Mrs. Rodriguez tells you that this is how you should write it, then that's how you should write it. Don't try doing it any other fancy schmancy way or in your head or anything like that, because order of operations is going to be one of those things that as we go forward in 7th and 8th and 9th in high school, you're going to keep using order of operations, but the problems are going to get way harder than the ones we're going to work on this year. And if you're not following the correct steps and writing your solutions the correct way, it will make things so confusing. So it's really important that you follow my steps and do it the way I've done it, okay? All right, so now that you guys have gotten this drawn, I want to first pose a question to you. If I give you the problem 20 minus 8 times 2, typically you would say, okay, well, 20 minus 8 equals 12. And then 12 times 2 equals 24. So that would be your answer. Except that is actually incorrect, because we just worked left from right. We did not use the order of operations. So we're going to rewrite it one more time over here. And we're going to come back to it in a second, okay? Remember, if Mrs. Rodriguez is writing, you're writing. Okay, so up in that green box, I want you to go ahead and put a big P. A nice big P. Okay? And this is, I call it my order of operations pyramid, but it's not quite pyramid shaped, but we'll just go with it. Okay, so my top box, my P is for parentheses. And that can also be brackets. So these are parentheses. It could also be brackets. And it could also be braces. Okay? They're all the same. Okay, now, blue pen. In my blue box, we're going to put a big E. Okay? And remember, this is a graphic organizer for you to come back to if you're doing an order of operations problem and you're having trouble remembering the order. So you want it to be nice and neat so that you can read it and use it as a resource, okay? So E is for exponents. And remember, we just learned about those on Friday, right? Exponents are that high number in a power, the small number in the power. Okay. Okay, and then for the orange box, we're going to put a nice M and a D. And that's for multiply and divide. Okay, now the trick with the multiply and the divide is that you work from left to right in the math problem, okay? So right here, we're going to draw a left to right arrow. Okay, and I'm going to write that right here. Left to right, which means if division comes first in the math problem, you divide first. So you work from left to right, okay? And then for the pink boxes, we've got add and subtract. And again, that is another one where we're going to have that left to right arrow. Left to right. Okay, so now that we have our graphic organizer here, let's take a look at that math problem that we had from the beginning and see if we could resolve it and get the actual correct answer. So if I look at 20 minus 8 times 5, and then I look at my chart, what is it telling me I should do first? It's telling me that I should multiply. Okay, so I should multiply first, which means I have to do 8 times 2 first. So 8 times 2 is 16. Then I bring down the rest of my problem. And I do that very carefully and make sure I don't change anything, okay? So now the rest of my problem is 20 minus 16. 20 minus 16 is 4. So 4 is my correct answer because I followed the order of operations. Okay? Okay, so next. We still have probably about a half a page left here. Okay. So I'm going to kind of read you a math question, and I want you to listen closely, and then we're going to write it as an order of operations problem, okay? So listen closely. I bet some of you went back to school shopping. Let's say you bought 5 t-shirts that were $12 each and 3 pairs of pants that were $40 each. How much did you spend? Oh, but wait, hold on. Because I forgot that the t-shirts were on sale for $3 off each one. And you decided to buy some. And then your dear Aunt Sally gave you a $50 gift certificate for you to go shopping with. So now, using all of that information, how much did you spend? All right, so listen closely one more time, okay? So you went shopping. You bought 5 shirts that were $12 each, 5 t-shirts. And you bought 3 pairs of pants that were $40 each. But the t-shirts were on sale for $3 off. And you had a gift card from your dear Aunt Sally for $50. Okay, so let's take a look at that. All right, so I said you bought 5 t-shirts, right? So 5 t-shirts. And how much did those t-shirts cost? They costed $12, right? But I said that they were $3 off because they were on sale, right? So that means you bought 5 t-shirts times 12 minus 3, because each shirt costs $12 minus $3, right? And we can't multiply it this way. We have to multiply it so that the 12 minus 3 is done first. Okay, then I said you bought 3 pairs of jeans or pants for $40, right? So we're adding 3 times 40. Okay, so I know I wrote that a little funny. I'm going to talk about it in a second, okay? All right, and then the last bit of information that I gave you was your aunt gave you a $50 gift card, and so we're going to subtract $50 from our total bill. Okay, so notice up here I put a multiplication dot, okay? Remember I told you in 6th grade you're going to start to see the dots? Yes, good, okay. So I did that to show you the dot, but over here notice that there's no operation between the 3 and the parenthesis. When you don't see an operation between the parenthesis and the number, that means it's multiply. It's always multiply, okay? So even if you see 4, 5, what would your answer to this be? It would be 20, okay? If you see 2, parenthesis 3 plus 1, you do the parentheses first. 3 plus 1 is 4, and then 4 times 2. Everything in the parentheses is times 2 equals 8. All right? So remember that no sign between a number and parentheses means multiply. Okay, remember, if I'm writing it, you're writing it. Okay, we put a star there so we know that that's important. Okay, so using order of operations, now we can start to solve the problem. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to go to the top of our pyramid. And on the top of our pyramid, I'm sorry that my phone is ringing. I just have to let it ring. On the top of my period, I have the P. And so that's parentheses. Remember, your pyramid's up top, right? Okay, so on the top I have parentheses. And do I have parentheses in my problem? I do. So in the parentheses, I have 12 minus 3. So I have to do that first. So 12 minus 3 is 9. Okay? Now, notice that in this set of parentheses, I only have one number. So that means I'm not doing anything with those because it's one number. I can't do anything to it. Okay? So I'm going to bring everything else down. Being careful to copy it just the way it is on the other line. Okay? Okay, my next step in my pyramid, if we look at our pyramid again, is exponents. Do I have any exponents in this problem? No, no exponents. Okay, so then I move on to my next step. Multiply and divide from left to right. So, do I have multiplication from left to right? Multiply or divide? Let's see. I have multiply right here, right? Because 5 times 9. So 5 times 9 is 45. All right, and then I bring down my addition sign. I have another multiply, don't I? I have 3 times 40, right? So 3 times 40 is 120. And then I bring down the rest of my problem, which is minus 50. Okay, so now I add and I subtract from left to right, right? Because that's what my pyramid says at the bottom, right? Add and subtract from left to right. So my next line is going to be my adding. My adding, 45 plus 120 gives me 165. And I bring down the last part. And now I just have a simple subtraction problem, right? 165 minus 50 equals 115. Okay, so we're going to try one more. This is our together problem. We're going to evaluate. This expression, okay? And the expression is 30, oops, I'm going to move up a little bit, divided by, parentheses, 7 plus 2 to the third, or 2 cubed, times 6. Okay, so once again, remember, you have that pyramid in your notes for a reason. If you forget what's your first step, you go to that pyramid. Your first step is parentheses. Do I have anything in the parentheses? I do, okay? I have addition, and I have an exponent. So which one should I do first? Well, when I have two operations in the parentheses, I have to go back to my pyramid up top. And on my pyramid, which one comes first? Adding or exponents? Hopefully you said exponents. All right. So I do my exponents first. Okay. So if I solve my exponent, 2 to the third is 2 times 2 times 2. That will give me 8. And I bring the rest of my problem down. Okay, notice that every time I'm doing my problem, I'm bringing everything down. Every time I solve something, I'm bringing everything down, okay? Now, my next step is to go back to those parentheses, right? So if I go back to those parentheses, I have to do 7 plus 8. And what is that? Hopefully you got 15. Okay? Bring everything else down. All right, my next step, multiply and divide, right? So if I look at this problem and I say I'm working from left to right, I have to divide first, don't I? So 30 divided by 15 is 2. Bring everything else down. And now I am left with a simple multiplication problem. 2 times 6 equals 12. And I put a square around my answer. Okay, remember to put squares around your answer so that I know what your answer is. And you know what your answer is. Okay? Okay, good job, guys. Now we are going to move into you practicing. So I have 6 problems here. Okay. You're going to copy these down neatly into your notebook. Notice how I spaced them so that I'm going to pull out for a second so that you can see that I spaced them nicely so that there's plenty of room to show my work underneath and I can write all the lines I need to write, okay? So it's spaced out nicely. You're going to write these neatly into your notebook and you're going to solve them independently. I want you to solve them independently, all right? And we're going to come back to these tomorrow for tomorrow's lesson, and I'm going to help you solve them really quickly, and we're going to see if you got the correct answers, all right? So we'll go over them tomorrow and see how you did. So solve them, and we'll check them tomorrow, and it'll be fun for you to see whether or not you accepted the challenge good. After doing these 6 problems, you have a big ideas math assignment in the MRL textbook that you'll work on, okay? All right, bye guys.